In the very heart of Philadelphia stands Independence Hall. Today, it appears calm and dignified, but its story is not only about 1776. It is a story of 3 centuries of political change, structural decay, careful restoration, and the ongoing effort to preserve memory. Construction began in 1732. Originally known as the Pennsylvania State House, the building was designed by Edmund Woolley and Andrew Hamilton in the Georgian architectural style, balanced, symmetrical, built of red brick, crowned with a tall wooden steeple. At the time, no one could have imagined that within these walls, documents would be signed that would influence the fate of millions. In July of 1776, the Declaration of Independence was adopted here. 11 years later, in 1787, the United States Constitution was debated and signed in the same chamber. The building became a symbol of the birth of a nation. But time does not spare even symbols. By the early 19th century, the structure had already begun to change. The original wooden steeple deteriorated and was removed in 1781 due to structural instability. In the 1820s, a new steeple was constructed, but it differed from the original design. Over decades, repairs and modifications gradually altered parts of the building's historic appearance. In the mid-1800s, interest in America's founding history intensified. During periods of political tension and later the Civil War, national symbols gained renewed importance. It was during this time that serious efforts began to restore the building's historic character. In the 1870s, city authorities initiated early restoration projects. The goal was to return the building to its 18th-century appearance. However, restoration standards at the time were limited. Many decisions were based on assumptions rather than verified documentation. The most significant and historically informed restoration began in the 20th century. In 1948, the surrounding area became part of a newly established National Historical Park. Responsibility for preservation was transferred to the National Park Service. Under their supervision, extensive research was conducted. Historians and architects examined original drawings, letters, engravings, and construction records from the 18th century. Archaeological investigations helped determine original floor levels and structural details. The goal was historical accuracy. Mid-20th century restoration efforts carefully removed later additions that did not belong to the original design. Brickwork was reinforced, wooden elements were restored or replicated using historically appropriate materials. The tower and steeple were reconstructed to more closely match documented historical evidence. Yet, even after these major restorations, preservation did not end. By the late 20th and early 21st centuries, new challenges emerged. Natural aging of brick, environmental pollution, acid rain, temperature fluctuations, and heavy visitor traffic placed ongoing stress on the structure. Millions of visitors walk through its historic chambers each year. Modern preservation techniques became more precise. Specialists began using microscopic mortar analysis, non-destructive structural testing, and careful material conservation methods. The guiding principle shifted toward minimal intervention and maximum retention of original fabric. Every decision regarding restoration is made deliberately. Engineers, historians, architects, and conservation experts collaborate to ensure that no unnecessary alterations are introduced. The objective is not to modernize the building, but to slow the process of deterioration. In 1979, the building was designated a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, recognizing its global historical significance. Today, Independence Hall stands not merely as a tourist destination, but as a carefully maintained historic monument. It is restored not because it has collapsed, but because it represents something larger than itself. It represents self-governance. It represents the concept of liberty. It represents the foundation of constitutional democracy. The history of this building is not only about what happened inside it, it is about the generations who chose to preserve it. Independence Hall is not rebuilt from scratch. It is protected. Because some buildings are more than architecture. They are the physical foundation of history.